Pastor Mark waited until his future bride was 18 years old and then he married her. Let's start the news. So we have Pastor Mark over here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this man. He apparently married his bride after she turned 18 while waiting for her. Let's read it. Now, when Pastor Mark shared the news of his upcoming marriage, the entire community was filled with joy. Let me move this mic over here. Was filled with joy, but the mood quickly shifted. It shifted, ladies and gentlemen, when he realized his future bride's age. She was only 18 years old, and the pastor was almost twice her age. This was a shocking revelation, and it left many people wondering what the true purpose of this marriage was. Carla, the pastor's daughter, was especially curious. She wanted to know the real reason behind the union. Man, this is already getting brazy, man. These dudes, man, they be training them some tiger type ish. Carla was determined to get to the bottom of the situation. She began to ask around the community, trying to find more information. She spoke to the pastor's friends and family, but no one seemed to know the truth. She even asked her father, but he refused to answer her questions. Carla was frustrated, but she was determined to uncover the truth. She was sure that this was more to the marriage than what it was being said. But why was Pastor Mark so secretive? Well, I know why he was secretive. You all know why he was secretive. Anyways, let's continue. Why would he marry such a young girl, and will the wedding even happen? Ladies and gentlemen, it did happen. Announcing the wedding, Pastor Mark has been basically serving Oakwood's small, tight-knit community for over a decade. He was well respected in that community, as you guys can read this, and he beloved basically by his congregation, known for his compassion, heart, and unwavering faith. However, things took an unexpected turn when he announced that he would marry one of his church's youngest members, and that's even more brazy. The fact that she was a member of his church is wild to me. Now, it goes on and on. He announced that he would marry one of his youngest members of the church, Dolores, on her 18th birthday. Jesus Christ, this gives me heebie-jeebies, ladies and gentlemen, heebie-jeebies. Now let's keep going. My skin is crawling. The news of the pastor's wedding spread quickly throughout the community, and everyone was eager to learn more about the mysterious woman he had married. Despite the people's curiosity, Pastor Mark remained tight-lipped about the details of his wedding. He had not intended to mention the wedding at all, but it had slipped out accidentally. The people of the community were desperate to know more about the woman who had captured the heart of their beloved Pastor Mark. Now, why her? Everybody wants to know. No one had heard of the young woman named Dolores joining their church. They wondered why a young woman would marry a pastor twice her age. The Pastor Mark's secretiveness didn't help either. The pastor's silence only served to fuel the speculations and gossip that was rampant in the community. And there was one person who wanted to know what was going on. I'm pretty sure all of us wanted to know what was going on with him marrying Dolores. You feel me? Let's keep going. His daughter, Carla heard about her father's new marriage through rumors around town. He didn't even told her. Whoever wrote this don't know grammar, but he hadn't even told her about it himself. So she confronted him about it. He was free to marry again after divorcing her mother 5 years ago. But why her? Why a girl even younger than his daughter? But Pastor Mark stayed quiet, out of character. Carla stormed frustrated out of his house. She couldn't stand her father at this moment. He lied to her, which was something he had never done before. This was something so out of character for him. Carla couldn't just let it slide. She decided she had to find a way to talk to his future bride. Carla began her search for Dolores, the young woman her father intended to marry. I wouldn't even search for it. You should have just stared at your daddy, little girl. But anyway, let's keep going. She went around the town asking questions and trying to gather any information she could find. She visited every shop, every house, and every corner of the town, but no one seemed to know a thing. She asked the shopkeepers, the farmers, the old folks, and even the children. This sounds like a farmer in a dell, a farmer, but there ain't no hi-ho. No, ain't none of that. But no one had any answers. She was determined to uncover the truth behind this mysterious marriage. I know the truth, and it starts with a P, but we're not going to get into that. A Geppetto, a former relationship. She asked the same questions repeatedly, but no one seemed to know anything. She was begging to feel discouraged, but she kept going, determined to find the truth. She asked the same questions to everyone she met, but no one had any answers. She was determined to uncover the truth behind this mysterious marriage, but no one seemed to know a thing. I think we all all know what the thing was, and it's kind of unfortunate. Carla called some old friends of her father and even interviewed other members of his church, but no one seemed to know the name Dolores. One of the pastor's Mark's old friend mentioned a former relationship with her father while traveling through Sweden, but that woman would be around the same age by now. Sheesh. A police investigation started. So let's read it. So Carla hit a dead end. She didn't even know what else to do but to inform the police about the marriage. It just didn't sit right with her. She was worried that the soon-to-be wife was too young and that she were being taken advantage of. You think? Anyways, Carla was determined to get to the bottom of this and find out the truth. She knew that the time of essence and that she had to act fast. First of all, seems like the daughter Carla is doing way too much. All you had to know, the father was marrying this young girl. That was enough information for me. Let's keep going with this because this get a little bit deeper. The police took Carla's claim seriously, and damn, Carla even snitched on her dad. But let's keep it going. Jeez, what did the dad do to the daughter for the daughter to snitch? Things that make you wonder. Anyways, the police took Carla's claim seriously and told her they would investigate it. Carla pressed them and said they had a deadline as the wedding would be in 2 days. She was desperate to find out the truth and make sure that the young woman was safe. She was determined to do whatever it took to ensure the marriage was not taking place. First of all, what did the dad do to the daughter for the daughter to think that the young bride was not safe? That's another thing that goes deeper, that we should have heard that part of the story instead of Dolores being married to the dad, Mark. But anyways, tracking him down, the police began investigating the upcoming marriage between Pastor Mark and Dolores. They headed to his home, but no one seemed to be there. They headed to the church, but no one had seen him in the last couple of days. Time was ticking, and the investigation couldn't proceed without talking to Pastor Mark and hopefully Dolores. Jesus Christ, tick-tock, it's ticking fast, ladies and gentlemen. The officers tried to track him down, but couldn't find any trace of him or Dolores. They even tried calling him on the phone, but without success. Nobody else could give them any information about his whereabouts either. They almost started to lose hope when suddenly something happened. They were waiting outside his home in their vehicles when they finally had a breakthrough. Pastor Mark arrived home, holding his head down while walking inside. He didn't want to be seen. Yes, the shameful guilt of a pastor. Anyways, waiting in the car, he sneaked back to his car and got in, his heart pounding in his chest. The officers could not see what was inside the bag, but it must have been important if he had come only to pick it up. He sat in his car for a while, his mind racing about what to do next. He knew that if he stayed, the officers would eventually find out what was in the bag. Yeah, what was in that bag, Pastor Mark? And I guarantee you it wasn't no holy Bible. Let's keep reading. Now, and he would be in trouble. He had to get away, but where to? Not Carla, because your daughter seems to hate you, bro. He looked around trying to find a way out, but the officers blocked the only exit. This sounds like a movie, Speed Part 3. Anyways, they blocked his only exit. He started to panic. His breathing became more and more labored. He had to think of something fast. Suddenly, he had an idea. He started the car and drove away, but not in the direction of the officers. Instead, he drove in the opposite direction, hoping that he could lose them in the maze of streets. But where to now? Following his car. The police followed Pastor Mark's car as he drove out of town, staying at a safe distance. They were close enough to keep an eye on his movements, but far enough away that he couldn't stop them. Pastor Mark had no idea he was under investigation, as the police had yet to speak to him. The police had been tipped off by his snitch daughter, which we appreciate, but anyways, tipped off, and we were now on the hunt for evidence to back up the claims. Man, this is, I gotta take a breather, ladies and gentlemen. This is like a blockbuster movie or something, right? Like Taken Part 8. They had been told, let's get these advertisements out the way. They had been told that Pastor Mark could be involved in some shady dealings and that they were determined to get to the bottom of it. The police followed Pastor Mark's car for miles, never losing sight of him. They watched as he drove through the wind roads of the countryside and eventually pulled up outside of a small cottage. They were left with more questions than answer. A little house. He drove around 20 minutes to a little house just outside of his hometown. The house blended in with surroundings very well and could walk right past it without even noticing it was really there. The outside of the house looked a bit old and weathered, and at first glance it seems like nobody had been there in ages. He parked his car behind a bush, deliberately making sure it was out of sight. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, out of sight, out of mind. Seems like Pastor Mark up to no good but dirtiness. But anyway, let's read. He grabbed the bag he had brought with him and headed inside. The blinds were closed, making it look like no one was home, and with his car out of sight. It seems very believable. He could tell that the house has been abandoned for quite some time. He checked the surrounding, making sure that no one was around. He felt a bit uneasy, but he knew it was the right move. The house was dark and musty like Pastor Mark. Anyways, he could tell it had been empty for a long time. A good disguise. He looked around. I'm breathing, ladies and gentlemen. He looked around, taking the details of the house. He noticed the dust and settled on the porch and the cobwebs that had formed in the corners. He could feel the emptiness of the house. It was as if no one had been there for a long time. He wondered why Pastor Mark has chosen this place to hide. Had the police not followed him, they would never known he was in there. They wondered why he was hiding, and it intrigued their interest. Man, it intriguing my interest right now. I want to get to the bottom of this, y'all. Why hide if you are innocent was their question. They had to find out the answer, so they knocked on the door. They were determined to get to the bottom of this mystery. They had to know why Pastor Mark had chosen this place to hide, why he's trying to avoid something, or was he trying to buy some time? They had to find out. They knocked again, louder this time. They were determined to get an answer. No one opened the door. Surprisingly, no one opened the door. The police knew the pastor was inside, so they knocked again. Pastor Mark, we know you're in there, one of them yelled, hoping he would open the door, but he didn't. Unfortunately, they couldn't just barge through the door. They needed a warrant for that. The police had been called to the pastor's house after reports of a disturbance. They had to investigate the situation, but they couldn't do anything without a warrant. Ladies and gentlemen, this is getting deep. I don't know when this story is going to end. Open the door, they yelled, but still there was no response. The officers started to get frustrated. They had done everything possible to get the pastor to open the door, but he still refused. The officers searched outside of the house, but they couldn't find him. They were starting to get worried. Where had the pastor gone? He had left the premises. A sudden call. So the only thing they could do was to stake out the house and get the warrant. He had to go outside sooner or later. Officer Will and Officer Tracy were on watch. Ladies and gentlemen, I am tired. I'm not going to lie to you. This thing goes on and on and on. I don't even want to. I'm going to go all the way to the end, ladies and gentlemen, because I am tired and reading this. It says, okay, we're going to go to the end of this. I'm skipping all of this. I tried to read the story of this. You guys passed it to me and said, do a video on this. I love my supporters. I thought, why not? I thought it was going to be a 4-minute video. Look, it goes on and on and on again. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired. Look, this is probably an hour of reading, bro. Look at this. It goes on and on and on. Man, whatever, anybody know the details of Pastor Mark's story, just give me the story at this point, because this goes way too far, way too long, and I didn't know the end. Okay, let's read the end. Dolores was determined to make the most of her newfound freedom. Bro, she was trapped. Let's read the rest. Let's read the end of it together. Dolores was determined to make the most of her newfound freedom and opportunity to reunite with her family. She was filled with hope and optimism. Knowing she could finally start a new life in the United States, she was able to obtain legal residency and eventually citizenship through proper channels with the help of immigration authorities. This process was long and arduous, but Dolores was determined to make it work. And the truth about Pastor Mark's actions had brought pain and shock to the community of Oakwood, but it also served as a catalyst for positive change. Dolores was determined to use her newfound freedom to help others in similar situations. Ooh, this was a long story, y'all. So she began to volunteer her time at a local immigration center, helping other immigrants navigate the complex legal system. She also worked with the local organizations to raise awareness about the importance of immigration reform. Dolores was determined to make let's get this advertisement out the way. Determined to make a difference in the lives of others, she was a passionate advocate for immigrants' rights and worked tirelessly to ensure that everyone had access to the same opportunities she had. Dolores' stories was an inspiration to many. She was a symbol of hope and resilience, and her courage and determination was an example to all. Her story was a reminder that no matter how difficult the journey may be, it is possible to overcome any obstacle and achieve success. Sheesh, ladies and gentlemen, by the looks of this, leave some of these scamming pastors alone. They are wicked as wicked could be. Man, I'm tired. I'm going to need a sip of water and iced tea. Ladies and gentlemen, I am out. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed.